different do you think the Olympics will be this time?
I think this Olympics, typical Olympics, is a lot of competition, a lot of stress, pride, all of that, but also it's a lot of celebration. This Olympics is not going to be the same. This Olympics is going to be about boxes, about isolation, it's about testing, treatments, about having your masks on, having to kind of social distance from each other. So this is going to be stressful. The rooms, the isolation, all of that is going to actually take its toll on athletes. And tools which help you, whether it's a book or whether it's app or with something which is there, is very, very important. It's always been challenging to have the mental side of your training track. Any coach you could ask, and you could say something like meditation, and it sounds a bit abstract. So, how do you actually quantify something which I thought was always challenging? So, for me, sitting down and meditating was a problem because I would be really stiff in my hips. And for me, lying down and doing yoga nidra was something which was always been helpful. But also for me, things like visualization were becoming a challenge, and I would always want players to sit down and visualize, but you don't know whether they're actually visualizing or not. So that's when, for me, DHYANA app I thought was very, very useful. So the ring actually has three quantifiable things, which are breathing, relaxation, and focus. They do it with the help of an algorithm which checks your heart rate variability, and they do it in a way which is actually helpful to align to various apps and the YouTube, so that you can do it from different whatever you're doing, you could actually take that help of the thing for that.
How useful has meditation been for you in your career as a player and as a coach as well?
Well, I see why I was introduced, or I started meditating way back around 94, 95. I had an ACL tear as a young 19-year-old, um, and had to go through an ACL surgery about 25, 27 years back. At that time, there was not so much of sports science, and not many psychologists and physiotherapists who would actually think of a reconstruction of the ACL. So for me, the major strength came from yoga, meditation, and that's something which has always been very, very helpful. And I've believed that the great knowledge which India has been taken from us and repackaged and brought to us back and sold it to us, and we need to reclaim that as well. I was called the McEnroe of badminton because I would be very angry in matches, but later I learned to control my emotions and use my mental strength is a big thing. So not only as a player but as a coach, today I truly believe that I not only have benefited from it, but more importantly for me, I enjoy meditation and it's fun.
Coming to you, Tanvi, how often do you meditate and how useful has it been for you as a player? You know, the pressure can be enormous. And does meditation actually help? Does it improve your focus and performance?
So it's been about a few years since I started meditating, and ever since it's been very regular. Ever since I started Heartfulness, prior to that, I was doing very random meditations online on YouTube, but a routine never kind of developed out of it. And once I started sitting with a Heartfulness trainer, we kind of emphasized that it has to be done in a very disciplined fashion where you do it in the morning and then in the evening you do a smaller one, maybe a 20-minute meditation. And what ended up happening was that this became as important as brushing your teeth. And so the routine sets and you actually start seeing the results much faster. And if I contrast my life now to maybe, let's say, 4 years back, there is a massive difference in my mental strength and my nervous system, and how meditation has actually helped regulate it so much more, because that state of calm, breathing slowly, being in a state of flow in all your activities, that becomes second nature as you start meditating more. And so when you're playing squash and performing any sport, you're in a state of flow, the same way you feel when you're meditating. But the minute that slight pressure of the tournament comes, that's when the thoughts, the expectations start creeping up. So meditation has actually just brought about a world of awareness to me, where instead of engaging with my negative thoughts, I've learned to kind of ignore them and go back to that state of balance. And it's just beautiful how it was something that I discovered randomly, and it's literally like I discovered it and it suddenly overnight became one of the most important parts of my life because of the way it's helped me and my family and the people around me who started practicing as a result.
How far do you think we still have to go? Uh, where are we right now in terms of mental health in sports?
I think it's a big challenge. The pressures of sport are many. The understanding of sport is limited. So we don't have a sports culture. So we all want victories. We are not ready to accept that losing is a part of sport. A larger understanding, because we can make heroes out of our winners and we could make villains out of our losers. But I think to go out there, give your best effort, and if you are in a with a chance to win or grab the medal, you should, and that's the attitude we should have, and that requires an element of risk taking, an element of fun, an element of street smartness, which is also important. So it's important that to be relaxed about it. We cannot have the burden of victory or stress of victory actually pull you down. We are at the nascent stages of becoming a sporting nation, or starting to be. Just the beginning. And I do believe that over time we'll get there. But yes, there's a lot of stress. Young kids have a lot of stress playing sport because the parent is saying, I've invested so much on you. Why can't you win? And we have to realize that physical abilities of different people, talent and genes of different people are different. So everybody doesn't have the same. And not necessarily that the player who's actually worked the hardest is going to win. So I think it's important to understand sport much more so that the stress on players can be lesser. But the only choice what we have is for us to get stronger, and we can't wait for the whole of India to actually change. I think it's important for the athletes to start getting themselves mentally stronger, and I think definitely we should start looking at and means which mental training is imparted to athletes.
We are truthful, unafraid, and independent because of you. Now you can help our reporting from the ground. Go to thequint.com, click Become a Member tab, choose a plan, and pay. Because the truth is worth it.